Hello and welcome to Celebrate Gettysburg's 10 Minutes with Waldo's. And I don't have Waldo with me here today, but kind of, in a sense, I do. This is Chris Lauer with Waldo's. I'm Karen Hendricks with Celebrate Gettysburg, and we're going to add on to the wonderful magazine article in this month's edition of Celebrate Gettysburg and get to know Chris a little bit more. So, hi Chris, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely, glad to be here.
I understand that Waldo's is celebrating a banner milestone. You're coming up on your 10th anniversary. First off, as a nonprofit arts organization, that's quite a milestone and an accomplishment, so tell me what that feels like.
Sure. Well, I mean, I don't know if I'd imagine we'd make it 10 years, so it's very exciting to come upon it. I will say it feels both like we just started and also eternal at the same time. Like we've always been here, and we've always been doing this, and that it's really exciting. I know when we first started, I would not have imagined what this space looked like, what we're doing, what we're able to do here at all. I mean, our original space was incredibly DIY. It was all sorts of just dreaming in a dusty warehouse. And to see in just 10 years in Gettysburg that we've made this work and that the community's come together is really surprising and amazing. I mean, I just feel like we tapped into something the community already wanted to do.
Fantastic. Well, we're sitting right now in an area that you kind of, I don't know, informally call the living room of Waldo's. And so I understand a lot of great conversations take place, in addition to ours. But tell me what it's like and why it's important to have this kind of space, like a community living room.
Sure. Well, it's a combination of a couple things. One, I think it's super important for a community to have a space to get together that isn't super expensive to participate in, that is open late, that isn't serving alcohol, that's just an ability for people of all ages and all different demographics to just be together in the same room. That's not work, that's not home, that's just somewhere else. And we've seen a lot of these little communities kind of bridge and meet each other and get to know each other, and that's been really fun. And secondly, this community living room has also kind of provided a way to bridge between an artist's studio space or an artist's creative process and their community or even their sales audience. So people who are purchasing work from artists are getting to know the artists at the same time, also getting to know how they do it. And I think, you know, commonly these spaces are separate, they are kind of cloistered off. And here there's a pretty permeable wall between public and private spaces, or studios and audience. So it becomes more of a personal experience when you're purchasing someone's mug or you're purchasing someone's print. You know them, you saw them do it.
Or purchasing somebody's kombucha, which is what we're drinking. You said non-alcoholic, so I understand you're the brewer. Cheers. It's delicious. Today we're having ginger, honey, lemon kombucha, right? It's delicious, very refreshing. So, you're a man of many talents. You're the brewer, right?
I am, yeah. I've learned from other people, but then kind of continued as we kept going. We've been doing coffee, we've been doing tea, we've been doing kombucha for a long time. And I mean, combined experience of the people in this room or in this organization as baristas or in the coffee industry is so many more years than I care to admit. So we were able to take that talent or those, I don't know, things that we've already learned and put it to use in the space. So that is essentially one of our main sources of funding as a space. People are donating for drinks. Drinks are technically free. You get whatever you like. And then we're taking these incredibly high quality, handmade, handcrafted beverages and empowering the community.
Very cool, very cool. Well, you mentioned talents, and I understand you are going to show us in just a moment one of the trade shops here at Waldo's. We're going to show folks, our viewers, what it's like to go through and actually use some of the equipment that you have here at Waldo's, the printmaking shop, right?
Right.
All right, so let's go back and reconvene in a moment, take the viewers with us, and see what you're going to print up for us today.
Here we go.
All right. welcome back. We are now standing in what's called the letterpress area, right, Chris?
Sure.
So
Yep.
tell us about this, ta-da, machine right here that we're standing by. It's quite antique, right?
It is. This is from 1913. This is a Chandler and Price letterpress. It's one of the largest models that they made. And this was essentially how every book was printed for, a lot of years before offset took over. But now it's being
1913.
absolutely, yeah.
So it is 110 years old.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And still works like a dream. These machines were built to last. And as long as we keep them greased up, they last forever.
And someone donated this to you, right?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, this is one of the signature parts of our printmaking shop. Now, printmaking takes over several different means of printmaking. There is screen printing, there's block printing, there's etching, there is dry point etching, there's monotype. Really any means of transferring ink from one surface to another and repeating it is part of printmaking. And this is a very efficient form of printmaking. People can make business cards, we print our coffee bags, any sort of kind of mass media, of a very ancient sort. But this is kind of the old world mass media machine.
It's really, on the one hand, it's certainly an art form. But on the other hand, it's like the early phases of what we might call a copier or a printer today, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This was how mass media was made. Yeah. So it is this bridge between industrial arts and now the visual arts or the more creative arts. And there are, so many artists are now taking over these machines and using these machines to make cards, to make more, beautiful media that's a little less just printed material.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm going to find this fascinating. I think you, our viewers, are going to find this fascinating too. But you're going to actually take us through step by step the process. And so some of the areas our viewers might want to keep an eye on is this surface right here, right? And then this is the actual press, right?
Yep, and that's where the print will go. That's where my handset type will go.
Okay.
So what I'm going to take you through today is how we print our coffee bags.
Okay.
So all of our coffee bags are hand printed with some handmade lino cuts in them as well as some handset type. Combination of two things.
Okay.
Absolutely. Here we go.
Very cool.
So primarily, of course, lots of letterpress was made with type and just handset pieces of type. And that's just little pieces of lead letters. Now you won't be able to see this very close.
Yeah.
But each one of these is a tiny little piece of lead that has a letter on the top of it. And that gets all stuck together and put into the machine and then inked up and printed. So here we've got our coffee bag all set up and ready to go. And you'll notice here we have lettering. It says Waldo's & Co. And then here is a lino cut. This is a handmade, hand-carved stamp done by Ethan Hartramth behind the bar. And we've combined the two to make an image for our coffee bags. Mm-hmm. And you notice, of course, it's backwards. Anything in printmaking is going to be backwards. That's just how that works. Yeah. Now this gets inserted into the letterpress. Mm-hmm. And then we get to ink up our machine. Now this ink is a rubber-based ink, so it doesn't really dry. It kind of absorbs, and it leaves a lot of time for one to be able to work with print or work with a machine. If you have a long run of anything really, this ink will stay on the wheel without gumming up the works for a long time. I'm just going to take a second to roll this on. Notice it gets a little noise and real sticky sounding.
And if you hear footsteps above us, we're actually in the space, in the basement of 17 Lincoln Square. So the space above us is actually Lark Gift Shop. So if you hear noises and people walking above us, that's what that is, customers upstairs.
It's definitely become part of the ambiance here. After a while, you seem to be able to tune it out, but we've got a lot of interesting noises around the space. Alright, and one of the cool features about this particular machine, you may notice, you'll be able to see there are two turning wheels in this inking press, or this inking plate. It evens itself out much more efficiently than other presses. Okay, that's good enough for now. There you go. Now let's see how this machine moves. So you'll notice there's some rollers down here that are going to come up and over that inking surface. They're going to get ink on themselves and then come back down and ink the plate that we just put in. So pull this wheel, see those rollers come up, ink themselves up here, and back down, and they just rolled ink over the print that we set in here. Now this, if you're ever using one of these things, I have to caution you, this is built before they were very concerned about safety. So of course this thing has a lot of momentum. And if your hands get caught in certain areas, it won't really stop. So, that's fair warning. Be very, very careful. Now we let that ink up several times. Make sure that my plate has all the ink on it that I need. Looks pretty good. And I'm going to add a piece of paper here. Now, in a world where I'm doing this as a long run, I'm going to make sure that this piece of paper, or whatever I'm printing on, has little corners and lands in the exact same spot every time. For now, I'm just taping that on there, because we just need one print. And I'm going to pull this forward to engage the press. Pull one more time. And that's not how that should happen.
This is live. This is live video.
I need better tape. So, one more shot. Okay. There's tape. Yeah, that ink is very, very sticky. Pulled that right off. There. One more pull. There we go. That's a lot better. I've got some things to learn from this that I need to increase the height of my button, but that's the basic idea.
Oh, that is very cool.
Now you see the print, you see the type, all facing forward.
And you could do that in any color if you inked it up with any other color ink.
Yep.
The possibilities are endless, right?
Yeah, and you can do multicolor prints. I've seen people get close to photorealism on things like this. Yeah.
Well, it's just fascinating, and you know, everything old is new again, right?
Right.
So
Right.
I understand this is a really fascinating piece of equipment that a lot of artists use here. But quickly, Chris, in our last minute, maybe talk to us about the other shops, trade shops that you have available here.
So we have, in the print shop alone, we have screen printing, dry point etching, monotype printing, relief etching or relief printing or block printing. We have the letterpress. In the other studios, we have our ceramic studio, which includes, of course, our wheels and our kilns and all those things. Those are just open to the public to use. Now, we provide equipment. We don't provide supplies. There are a few things we have, but most supplies people need to provide themselves. We also have a dark room, speaking of old things being new. Dark room's coming back, film is coming back, and it's nice to be able to host these old pieces of machinery that can still process film and still make enlargements.
Yeah. Well, congrats on all your success, Chris.
Thank you.
Congrats on the 10-year anniversary coming up, which people can participate and come and celebrate this
Absolutely.
August, right?
August 26th, we're going to be here most of the day celebrating. It's going to be a great time. Just also thanking our community and thanking the people that have volunteered and donated over the years. It's going to be a great time.
Oh, well, congrats again. Just thanks again for your time today. Congrats on all your success.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.